flown Howard across from Australia to be our keynote, talking about AI in hotels, hype versus reality, what works, what doesn't. Please welcome our keynote, one of our keynotes, Howard Fung from, what is it? It's a HPAI and Consulting. Howard,
that's right.
Welcome, thank you.
Thank you. Brilliant. Thank you, mate. Testing. Well, that's working. Great. It's a pleasure to be here. I've been through many maximum occupancy events, and it's great to see a turnout. It's incredible. I've been in the industry for 20 years. Started Vacor, and the last 7 years I've worked for the largest owner-operators, EVT, ProInvest, and I've delved in. I've led multi-million-dollar transformation journeys, and there's a lot of key experiences that I've gained through that journey, and I've seen the upside and the downside, surviving COVID, transforming. And for the first time in my career, AI is the first technology that excites me. Right? The upside is significant. It is something that trillions of dollars are being invested in infrastructure and capability globally. If you look at the stock market, Magnificent Seven, look at their valuation. It is doing something quite tremendous. And I'm going to share a bit about the use cases, the case studies, on how this technology has transformed hotels. Technology vendors are investing at scale. White label operators, owner operators, they see the potential, and they're investing internal capability to really set themselves apart, particularly franchise. So you mentioned the previous panel, how are franchises differentiating themselves? And the margin and the investment required nowadays is not in the hundreds of thousands. It's in the tens of thousands now, and it's become quite affordable. So the big promise, why AI? Probably just to break it down a bit, in the last 12 months or even 24 months, there's a technology effectively called the natural language processing capability. It's the ability to allow you to interface with advanced tech like AI technology through voice, through chat, through imagery. It is phenomenal, and it helps you really enhance your capability. So imagine if you had a PMS or a revenue management system or a forecasting system that you can just really quiz. Have you thought about the flight data? Have you thought about the STR data for this particular comp set? And you can really provide that really in-depth analysis and really make that pivot in a moment's notice on dealing with things like COVID. How do you manage when your supply and demand is so volatile, particularly in the industry in New Zealand? You can look at the data. Data is historical, but what if you can analyze in real time? And this is the promise that AI does bring to the table, particularly smaller operators, owner operators. It's a vastly impressive technology. If you look at the statistics, this is done by Hotel Tech Report, one of the largest type of digital type of newsletter and websites around technology. They surveyed a lot of guests, and if you look at the statistics, 70% of guests, they expect a lot of capability, like chatbots, the ability to answer information in a moment's notice. You don't want. If we look at the age groups like millennials, the Gen Zs, they don't want to be calling down. They want to be able to access information in real time, and that's the expectations. So that's where AI comes in. It brings information. It's such hyperscale speed, it becomes incredible. And then if we look at the other statistic, 58% of guests feel that AI will improve the experience. If you look at Netflix, if you look at even the OTAs, they're leveraging AI to provide that personalization. And it's the expectation nowadays. And then if you look at 65% of travelers, they expect hotels to have technology that is better at home. If you look at there's Google Home, there's Amazon Alexa that's been around for some time. Basic casting, basic personalization of content. And then we start bringing it down to, what are the types of things can AI do, right? This is the kind of the 4 pillars that's quite important. The first one is supply chain management, right? Imagine if you could have a full 360 view on your entire supply chain, right? From inventory management all the way to looking at your food, your kind of food costs. These are the types of things that you can really optimize with AI, right? the data points with all your system now to the cloud is very vast. You can plug it in, and you can learn about your whole operation before the goods arrive or before the man arrives. These are the benefits of having a tool that can plug in and provide intelligence in real time. The second element that we're quite familiar with is predictive capability, right? Predictive around forecasting, around rates management, yielding. But what if you can predict other things, like, if you look at your building, one of the most expensive assets, right? You're investing hundreds of thousands every just to upkeep the building. But what if you can predict that if you maintain this particular investment asset and increase the life cycle by five years, that will have a significant ROI impact to the business. And then we look at inventory optimization. How many times have you experienced your mini bikes expiring, or you've over-ordered on your par levels, right? Having a real-time view, plugging into your various procurement systems, all the way to your kind of like real-time systems around tracking, ordering and servicing and demand, you can have a pretty good view of your systems, right? And then probably lastly, automating repetitive tasks. This is quite an easy win. I know a large group, they're using very basic tools to automate tasks, but AI can be quite dynamic based on a moment's notice. So leveraging that into your entire ecosystem, you can get a pretty solid ROI. This is a pretty good infographic from Hotel Tech Report. Adrian will share this slide. This is how you get started, right? You pick a particular pillar and you look at what can I innovate. Hoteliers globally have invested quite heavily in AI. One particular example is guest journey. How do operators differentiate themselves? Is they're leveraging data and AI to provide that personalized guest experience. You've seen the rise of kiosks. What differentiates kiosks from human touch? What if the kiosk can anticipate your needs? What if it can remind you that you have some points that you want to burn? These are the types of things that AI can provide by leveraging quality data. So what's the hype in reality? One of the things is will AI replace the people in the hotels, the staff? And the answer is no. All right, it's not there yet, maybe 5 years from now, but it's there to augment your staff. So imagine, Terry mentioned earlier that there's issues with staff quality, quality general managers. AI can augment, with a proper trained model, a unique IP to your business and to your platform. You can train the model, train the AI capability, and provide a pretty equal capability for your general managers across the board. You can quiz it in real time, say, how should I manage this complaint? How should I manage my finances? How do I analyze my P&L? Imagine that in front of your hands for all your general managers. It really levels the playing field. Second is AI personalization for guest experience. It's not there, but true personalization requires quality data. And with siloed systems that we have today, it's very difficult to be able to enhance full personalization. Does chatbot eliminate every type of human interaction? No, it doesn't. Chatbot's only there to provide just that base level of information, pretty much like an FAQ, but it doesn't fully replace hotels. Right? Now remember, we're here to provide a hospitality service. It's only there to augment and to provide the ability for guests to get the information quite quickly as possible. And there, the staff can focus on providing that quality hospitality service. Is AI plug and play? No, it's not. It requires quite an in-depth strategy. One thing that I've learned over the last 7 years leading a team in a critical function is quality data. You need a pretty strong strategy around how you collect the data, how do you standardize data, and how do you leverage it. So what really works in hotels? The first technology that's quite disruptive, that's kind of really enhance our hotel capability at quite a rapid pace. Adrian would know, working in marketing and digital, is the hyper-personalization that comes with a CRM. Over the last few weeks, we've seen this evolve quite quickly. It's become a conversational CRM now. You can actually plug your capability into the CRM and provide real-time analytics on your customers. For example, what if you could ask AI to say, help me draft a personalized marketing campaign for a particular segment, leisure segment, or what campaign should I focus on based on any type of segments that are not performing? So these are the types of things that's out there today and working quite well. Guest engagements. This is quite successful type of tooling that I've seen out there. I've deployed a few across my time. The ability to automate your inventory. It looks at spare inventory, and it provides an automated upsell capability for a pre-arrival email or for a digital app engagement. Say, hey, why not embrace a room upgrade for $200 more, for example. It looks at your type of spend patterns and provides a very personalized offer. AI in customer service. These are the many, many examples of what AI can do. It can really handle all your complaints 24/7. You don't need to be limited to staffing issues. Right? You can interface AI with voice. You can interface for a chatbot or even through any digital app capability. There are many apps out there, and they're growing quite quick and exponential. And we're seeing a tremendous trend across the luxury brands adopting this technology. So here's a quick example how vast the technology can be. AI in hotels, voice agents. This has only been around for a few months, and I was able to build an AI voice agent that can make a restaurant booking within 2 hours through the tech that's available. And the human interaction of this tech is phenomenal. Feel free to dial that number and experience yourself. And it took me 2 hours to build this, and I connect it to a CRM of my choice. What it does, it effectively fetches your contacts. So if you dial for your mobile number, it will recognize you through the CRM, and it will know your preferences, and it will be able to upsell you through that capability. AI in finance. This is probably, it's been around for a while, AI in finance. We've seen very base level AI, like things like character recognition for invoice matching. But what we're seeing now is really smart intelligence of matching data. One of the biggest type of paybacks I've seen in AI is automated fraud protection. I'm sure everyone in the hotel has experienced a lot of chargebacks, a lot of fraud. But what if AI can predict this booking? There's a high chance of cancelling or even not turning up. Here's a recent example of a client that deployed AI. What they've done is they've pulled all their reservation data. They effectively use AI. In this instance, they use Google's Gemini AI to help analyze the data and match what your one-to-one between your OTAs and your property management system. So typically there are overbilling issues. If you ever try to reconcile that many reservations, typically there'll be hundreds of dollars overpaid or underpaid. So leveraging AI can match that within an hour and provide you a recommendation to resolve those conflicts. Here's one other great success story. This is one of my clients. We have 24 hotels. They had a problem. They had a lot of staff they needed to recruit, and they were spending a lot of money for recruitment fees. Through creating a new talent acquisition team, we leveraged technology. We automated the entire employment tracking system. We leveraged generative AI chatbots to aid managers around the recruitment process. It's quite complex. And we leverage voice AI agents to schedule pre-screen candidates once they drop into the system. So if you find that the application is not up to scratch, AI can fetch that particular application and help you pre-screen. Another one I did mention earlier is the upsell capability. One hotel managed to increase their revenue by $400K leveraging upsell technology. Restaurant bookings. This is, I'm not sure if you experienced booking a restaurant for a platform, but there's a famous platform that's out in this region. Their entire call center is managed through a voice AI agent. You can make an entire booking talking to an AI, and it feels very personalized and quite effective in the tool. So challenges. Why do AI fail in hospitality? Number one is lack of strategy, data strategy, right? Poor data equals poor AI output. So it's important to have a clear strategy. If you're not sure where to start, engage a consultant. They'll have to lead you to the right strategy. It's all about standardizing their data, making sure you can trust the data source. Integration issues. If you're working with any legacy architecture, it does become an issue. So that does hinder your ability to get a solid ROI. Fragmentation across the many systems. There's CRS, there's POS systems. That does affect AI's capability if it's not plugged in centrally. ROI justification. Personally, after spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on an AI project, I wasn't able to produce an ROI in my first cut of it. So it is a key learning, right? Your board and your executives and investors need to be aware the technology is still in its nascent stage. So later on, I'll talk about how do you manage that for key learning. And then lastly, it's cultural resistance. Is AI going to take my job? You need to debunk that quite quickly. It's here to augment, and change management is really important for a successful adoption. So AI readiness, how do you get it right? Start small, by high impact use cases. You got to explore, right? You got to explore what you're trying to solve, what are the market trends, what's working out there, and then you start building a minimal viable product. And test it in your environment. Make sure it works. Start small, test it. Does it work before you start investing in scale? And then once you've successfully tested it and deliver quite a bit of ROI, then you start building the groundwork, making sure it's compliant. You're not going to cause a data breach. It's secure, and you've got third-party advice to make sure the platform is ready to go, and you launch and scale. Key takeaways: AI is not a magic bullet, right? It's a tool to enhance efficiency. Successful AI adoptions requires clean data, as I mentioned earlier. AI is there to augment your staff. Start with high impact, low risk use cases, right? You don't want to be dabbling into cases where they can cause a bit of poor guest experience. Lastly, why work for HP AI Consulting? 20 years experience. I'm here to provide strategic advisory to tech vendors all the way to hoteliers and owner operators. We work with a lot of cutting edge AI technology, and we want to bring this to the market. Thanks for your time.